Slavery, one person owning another, has haunted humanity for thousands of years. It began with the rise of early cities and farms, when war and conquest led to prisoners being forced into labor. Ancient laws like the Code of Hammurabi treated enslaved people as property, normalizing the system. Slavery wasn't about race at first, it was about power, conquest, and debt. As civilizations like Egypt, Greece, and Rome grew, so did their dependence on enslaved labor. In Greece, even as democracy flourished, thousands were enslaved, building monuments like the Parthenon. Rome expanded the system, capturing people from across its empire to build roads, aqueducts, and arenas. The rich and powerful used slavery to maintain their status, embedding it deep into society. This structure, some at the top, many at the bottom, would echo through history. The shadow of slavery stretched across continents and centuries, shaping the world in profound ways. Understanding its origins is the first step to understanding its impact. Slavery evolved, spreading through trade networks across Europe, Africa, and Asia. The Arab slave trade moved millions for over 1,000 years, while serfdom tied people to land in medieval Europe. The age of exploration brought a new, brutal chapter, the transatlantic slave trade. European colonizers, seeking profit in the Americas, turned to Africa for labor after indigenous populations were decimated. Millions of Africans were captured, shipped across the Atlantic in horrific conditions and sold as property. Chattel slavery based on race stripped generations of all rights and justified cruelty with racist ideology. This system built empires and economies, leaving a legacy of suffering and inequality. The scars of this era still shape societies today. Slavery's reach was global, its consequences lasting. Life for enslaved people in the Americas meant endless labor, fear, and the constant threat of family separation. Yet even in these harsh conditions, people resisted, sometimes quietly by slowing work or preserving culture, and sometimes boldly, through rebellion. Songs, stories, and traditions became acts of defiance and hope. The Haitian Revolution was a turning point. Enslaved people overthrew their oppressors and founded the first Black Republic. In the U.S., the Underground Railroad helped thousands escape, led by heroes like Harriet Tubman. Every act of resistance, big or small, was a declaration of humanity and a challenge to the system. These stories remind us that the fight for freedom never stopped. The courage of the enslaved inspired movements for justice worldwide. Their resilience shaped the course of history. The spirit of freedom could not be broken. By the late 1700s, the abolitionist movement rose, demanding an end to slavery. Formerly enslaved voices like Frederick Douglass and Olaudah Equiano exposed the horrors of slavery, changing hearts and minds. Britain banned the slave trade in 1807 and slavery in its empire in 1833. Other nations followed. In the U.S., abolition led to civil war and finally the end of slavery in 1865. Legal freedom was a milestone, but true equality remained elusive. The struggle against racism and injustice continued for generations. The history of slavery is a lesson in both cruelty and courage. It's a reminder to defend freedom and dignity for all.